This is the schnizzle.
Take a look at this right here, watch. All right, today we're making my go-to meal for when I have guests over. This is my Italian pork roast. It's coated in fennel pollen and it is perfect for when you're serving a large group of people because it's delicious. You can serve it as is. You can serve it in sandwiches with broccoli rabe, provolone. That's what we're gonna do. My parents are coming tomorrow. I wanna make something really nice because I'm gonna have them watch my kids on Sunday night. So let's make this pork roast. I'm gonna show you how to prep it, and then tomorrow we're gonna cook it. Also, if you need, I have the full ingredients and printable recipe right here at alwaysfromscratch.com. So first thing I'm gonna do is dry off the pork roast. We're gonna salt it and season it tonight. You can salt it up to 36 hours in advance, but we're just gonna do an overnight marinate, so it'll be about 18 hours. All right, so just take paper towels, pat this all dry. When you're doing a pork roast like this and you're not smoking it or anything, I don't like there to be a huge fat cap, and on this one there really isn't. I'm gonna take off a little bit over here. Usually if it's really thick, I take off a good chunk of the fat back just because you don't need it on when you're cooking it for this long. You're gonna hit it just with like 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And one little like pro tip, I put my seasonings in these little bowls, so any little bowls you have, because what I can do is I can touch the pork and then touch the seasoning and not have to worry about like going back and washing my hands a million times. Just rub it down. Just hit it with a huge layer of salt. This is about an 8-pound pork shoulder. So you wanna get a Boston butt pork shoulder. You just wanna cover it in salt, all the sides. This is gonna help really tenderize the meat. Seems like it's a lot of salt, but you've gotta remember, it's gotta penetrate through 7 pounds of meat. It's not like it's like a little pound, half a pound cutlet that you're doing here. And when anybody asks me what the key is to roast like this, the answer is salt. Roasting a chicken, salt. Roasting a pork shoulder, salt. The only other seasonings I do for this is garlic and fennel pollen. Fennel pollen is a little expensive, so you can use ground fennel if you want, just use less. Fennel pollen is what's used traditionally in porchetta, but I like it on my pork roast too. And then all fennel pollen is compared to the ground fennel is just like a much more mild anise flavor. So think black licorice. And then I just rub her down with all this garlic. And however much garlic you think you should use about 3 or 4 times that much. And that's the gold standard. Pick all that stuff up. Yeah, there you go. So this is our seasoned pork roast. We're gonna tie it now. I like to tie it because it makes it a little bit smaller so it fits perfectly into the Dutch oven. And of course, you can wait to tie it till the day you're gonna cook it, but I just like if I'm doing this a night in advance, I wanna do all the work, get it all out of the way, and be done, you know? Tie a nice little tight knot there. So the way I do it is I put this finger, I kind of rest the string in my hand like this. This one comes over the top. And you come under, around and through. And it creates like this little slip knot. You can kind of tie it down. So this is what we got. We got it wrapped up nice and tight. Now we're gonna wrap it in saran wrap really tight. We're gonna put it in the fridge overnight. Like a tiger, there you go. So we're gonna rest this in the fridge overnight. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll be back, we're gonna cook it. If you're having a pork roast sandwich, especially if you're doing an Italian style, broccoli rabe, provolone, you gotta have good bread. We're off to get the bread right now. She didn't know she was gonna be on the video. All right, we've acquired the bread. Heading back home to make some sandwiches. Bay a little sweet treat. I guess it's a savory treat. Savory treat. So we marinated the pork shoulder overnight. We're gonna set it aside. Right now we're gonna cut up an onion and saute it so that we can roast the whole pork roast with the onion and some chicken stock. So we'll let this heat up a little bit. I just use 1 whole yellow onion. We'll do about 2-3 tablespoons of olive oil. I prefer to use pork stock when I'm making a pork roast, obviously, but we don't always have pork stock. We rarely have it, and I only am using it if it's homemade. What I do have is chicken stock that I made yesterday for an Italian wedding soup, which is insane. I'll leave the link for that below. So we're gonna use the chicken stock instead of the pork stock, which is just as good. So we'll go into the pan with our onions and hit them with a little salt. And we're just gonna saute these right until they're translucent, and that's about it. If you've never seen these before, these are super cubes. They're awesome. I use them all the time, all soup season long. I just made this yesterday, so I didn't freeze it, but basically how it works is you put your liquid in here and you freeze it in a cube. You can remove it from the super cube, set it aside, and then you can like reuse the super cube for something else. I have like literally just frozen cubes of soup in my freezer by the end of the soup season. We're not gonna sear the pork at all. All we're doing is putting it right in with the translucent onions. We're gonna unwrap it. You want a toy? Yeah? Oh, you want these, right? Go show Poppy. Go show Pop. So we're gonna go right in this pot with our pork roast, right on top of the onions. I'm gonna turn it off. And I recommend about 2.5 cups of chicken stock, but you really just need enough to cover it about halfway up. So that's perfect right there.
Say hi. Hi.
No, cover it. And it goes in at 325. We're gonna do it for about 3 hours. So hopefully I'll have a different shirt on than what I was wearing last night. It's been a long, long morning, so. Oh boy. Perfect. Broccoli rabe is easy. When you look for broccoli rabe, you want to avoid a ton of this yellowing on the actual broccoli part. But you also want to make sure that there's a good amount of these broccoli heads. Sometimes, like when it's out of season, you'll just find basically a lot of leaves with like 1 or 2 of these heads. For real good broccoli rabe, you need a lot of this to hold the oil. I'm gonna use a whole head of garlic here. Just gonna chop off the end, and then we'll just crush it all. Just using the back of a knife. So I go with like a medium heat. Once you crush the garlic, it'll come out of the husk pretty quickly. So you're gonna go into the pot with a ton of olive oil. So we're doing 2 heads, so we need about 1/4 cup in there. Then make sure you take your garlic, smash it down again, put it into the olive oil. Some people will tell you to like cook the garlic, then take it out of the pan. I just leave it right in there. I like to eat the garlic once it's cooked down. You can do whatever works for you. We're just gonna chop off the ends of the broccoli rabe here. And you have choices here. You can either leave the broccoli rabe whole like this, or you can cut it in half. Because we're doing sandwiches, I just cut it right in half. It's better to go on the sandwiches that way, it's just easier. Depending on the heat you like, you might wanna go with some crushed red pepper or not at all. I like a little bit of heat. Sometimes when you mince the garlic instead of use whole garlic, what happens is when you put the broccoli rabe in, because the broccoli rabe is so big and you can't turn it all, the minced garlic just like starts burning immediately. And once the garlic starts to brown, you can throw in the broccoli rabe. So what I do when I'm doing this much, I like to layer it a little bit, so I'll go in with some of the broccoli rabe, hit it with a little bit of salt, and then I go in with the second layer. 1 more salt. Normally, I would just steam this down with water, but since we have this leftover chicken stock, I'm just gonna use that. Stir it a little bit to try to coat everything. Then we're just gonna cover it up for like 5-6 minutes and steam it. So after it's steamed for about 3 to 5 minutes, start to stir it. It'll cook down pretty quickly. The reason I like to do this in advance is that I like the broccoli rabe to sit in the fridge for a while and marinate. It's always better after it's been marinating in the fridge for a while. We just got back with these nice baguettes from Loaf Bakery here in Durham. These are so good. Once it's steamed down and starts to soften, you could take it off the heat, cover it, and just set it aside for like a half an hour. And the rest will wilt, so it'll be nice and soft for the sandwiches. Then we'll store it in the fridge. Clean myself up. We got a nice new shirt on. Right now we've been in the oven for 3 hours and 20 minutes. We're right at 180 degrees. All right, let's take a look at this bird, or this pig. Oh, fuck, that's hot. Double check the temp one more time. Yeah, we're good. We're gonna pull it out of here. It needs to rest for about an hour. So we're just gonna sit it right here. Effie, would you please? And we're just gonna let this sit here for an hour and rest on the cutting board. While that's resting, right before we're about to carve this, what we'll do is we'll simmer up the au jus, add some butter, and make that into a nice sauce we can toss everything in for the sandwiches. We just let this rest for about an hour. First thing we're gonna do is cut all the twine off. So good. So we're just gonna cut some slices off. You gotta cut against the grain, so pop off that fat cap right there. Look at that. Beautiful. Here, take a look. Oh, Maron, that's a beautiful looking thing. Try a piece. You good? with the bone, what we'll do, we'll leave a little bit of meat on it, and we'll make this into a pork stock. It's not gonna get a ton because it's a pretty small bone, but we'll be able to get like 4 cups of pork stock, and you really can't buy that at the store, so I always hold on to these. All I do is throw this into this pot. I fill the pot completely with water. I'm gonna let it simmer for the next like 5 hours. And then for the sandwiches, what we got, I have the broccoli rabe that's been sitting in the fridge all day. We're gonna throw this right into a pan. And we're just gonna open this up, make a big ass sandwich. With broccoli rabe, pork, you always gotta go with provolone. I love like the extra sharp flavor it adds, just because the pork is like pretty fatty, so you get more of like a mouthy, savory taste. So the picante provolone is like perfect to match with that. Before my dad eats all the pork and we don't put any on the sandwich, we're gonna put this in the oven, toast it up with the cheese in it. I like to go top rack, not too hot, so I do it at 375. You only want to do it till the cheese melts because you don't want the bread to be super toasty either. You just want it to be the cheese melted on top. That's it. So take it out after like 3 minutes. All right, cheese is melted. That's hot as fuck. Take the meat, and we got this au jus over here. We're gonna dip it in the au jus. Right in there, we're gonna layer it right across the whole thing. Just do a dip. Pop it over there. We're gonna really load this bitch up too. Take the broccoli rabe, right on top. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. You don't want to waste any of the juice either. Pour that right in there. Okay. This, look at this. All right, so this is our Italian roast pork broccoli rabe sandwich with provolone. It is insane. It's really not an expensive dish. All in, this is $35. Super easy to make. If you haven't yet, check out our website. We have the full printable recipe at alwaysfromscratch.com for the sandwich and for just the pork roast on its own. If you're not following us over on the other app, it's at Vindel You can check us out there. If you're gonna make this sandwich, I want you to leave a comment. Let me know what you think of it, or like, subscribe, like, comment, subscribe. You know, that's the order that it's gonna be in. And yeah, that's our pork roast. So let's cut this up. Look at this. Look at this. Minchia. All right. Sandwiches. You want one?
Oh, nice in here.
Always from scratch. Do 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 do.